Good morning, Alexander. I am so excited to have you here. You have such a story. I just want people to know that I would absolutely love it if you would leave your comments below. My discussion with Alexander is going to be broken down into three parts. We are going to talk about his introduction because he's from East Germany, and he's a success and mind coach, international speaker, will be writing a book, and he's also a world-class athlete. I could go on, but I just want you to know I am so eager to see people understand that they can do any business that they want so long as they have the correct mindset. So I would love it if you would go on my YouTube and subscribe to it and connect with Alexander. So good morning, Alexander. Let's get started on your amazing story.
Thank you, Jenny. It was a great introduction. I'm Alexander Richmond. I'm a coach. I'm a success and mindset coach. And I'm helping people, as I see myself, having a calling for helping people just in general. So, well, you mentioned I grew up in East Germany. East Germany was under the control of the Soviet Union at the time and made it a part of their communism system. And well, as I grew up in there, not knowing any better, at age 6, just entering school, I had been selected to wrestle. Basically, I started my wrestling career with age 6. We had been selected for various sports because East Germany was a very small country, and yet, if you look at it in history, like always played a big part at Olympics throughout history, the modern Olympics. And during that time, being a part of Olympic program, was an important part for the individual as well for the country. So the selection had been done early. So at age 6, when I started, I came there. The coach was speaking to all of us after we wrestled, and that gave me a vision. And that's something I wanted to share. When the coach spoke, to all of us, and I just had a feeling I could visualize, as he mentioned, and he pointed to a few people, and he also pointed at me, looked at me, and that spoke even more to me, that he said, imagine you could be one day, it didn't matter how you did today, but you could be one day walking up, standing on a podium, being put the medal around your neck, and the national anthem plays, and millions of people watching, that event and seeing you receiving that medal and being announced as an Olympian or world champion. How does it feel? And I don't know, I have goosebumps.
Yeah, right.
Because that's how it was. I go through the emotions again. It really woke me up. It touched me. Mm-hmm. And that's a vision. From there on, when you have a vision, when you have a desire, all of a sudden, you see yourself, and you decided in that moment, that is what you want to do. It's the turning point to everything. When you have a burning desire, you create a faith, a belief in everything there is, the system, the coach, or whatever you see in a moment, right? Because all of a sudden I believed every word he said. You have a desire, you have the faith, and you take actions. But the action, whatever the outcome is, goes right back and fuels the desire again. And having the faith, well, didn't happen yet. You go on, but you see improvements. I can guarantee you, if you stick long enough with it, and the issue is with so many people that they don't keep track, but we had to keep track. For us, we had a journal, like for us was important as athletes early on. You get a little booklet, all your matches had been recorded. Oh. The outcomes, how you scored, how did you win? By points, by, pinning an opponent, how long did it take, and what was the technique. So it was very scientific. And I want to bring it on early, because if you don't keep records, we forget. But so many people don't have that, unfortunately. But that's why they always have to look for mentors. That's why they always have to go and look around them, to create a team around their life in order to become more successful. Everything is possible. Everything
I
is
believe
possible.
that too. It's all a matter of your mind.
Yeah,
Totally.
maybe. And
But I like the point that you're making here about accountability and having the metrics, keep them written down. That is really important.
yeah, the biggest part is the vision, first of all.
True.
And
Right.
and you have to feel it. It's not
Passion.
something like I can put something, draw it on, but if I don't truly have the passion, if I don't have that fire, if I don't feel it inside,
Yep.
then it's not quite the right one.
True.
I
Very
might,
true.
I might have some success, but that's not something, it will not be sustainable over time. That's why
And
we
people
all,
can also read. If it's not your passion, they can sense it instantly.
yeah. If you're intuitive, definitely.
Yeah. I'm intuitive.
So, I made it to go to the Olympics, even though I got my butt kicked. Coming back after, like, was it August 5th, 6th? I don't know anymore. After the ceremony, the next day we flew back to Schönefeld, and in Schönefeld at the airport, they unrolled the red carpet. We didn't make it to the terminal. We stayed on the roll field. The team comes out, the coaches go first, and the support team, and standing right and left of the red carpet, and the athletes come down, and everyone is cheering. We had like Pioniere, like school group, but they were there to welcome us. They had flowers and so on. Then there was music played, and spectators from the media, as well as family and friends and others, politicians there. There were speeches held. But coming down the stairs, so my coach pulled me on the side and pointed to two guys standing on the side, and he said, like, they came to pick me up. That was my arrest, even though I never was officially arrested.
Wow.
There were no political prisoners anywhere anyway. So
Not that you knew of anyway.
right. I got slapped around a little bit. I got just a beating in my life. I got hit from the back, and shortly after I was out and waking up in a cell, just like totally in pain, black and blue. But when I found forgiveness in that moment, I'm like, they're in greater pain. All of a sudden, all my rage was gone. And I
That
forgave them.
is so amazing that you
And I
can
just
let go of it like that.
forgave them. And, in fact, I broke down crying. It was emotional at a time that, it was a relief.
Mhm.
Like if the pain was like, and really the pain virtually disappeared. The power of a mind is great.
It is.
If you see that, whatever you take on as a belief system, whatever you make it mean, coming of the past, of the experience you have, because everything is experience in the past,
It is.
that will shift, make or break you going forward.
That is powerful, Alexander. That is so powerful. It is, and it's so true.
One day I was taken to the border, from prison in the morning, early morning. They woke me up, threw me my clothing, and just the clothing, nothing else. I found out later on, I had no ID, no anything with my name on it, no money, just taken to the border.
Wow.
And then my life started there. And that was like a totally new system. West Germany, now capitalism. It's a new system for me. I did not have any school papers or anything to refer back to in order to get referrals or whatever. I started totally new. So I immediately went off and looked for work. And I decided I do whatever it takes.
You bet.
Just like in sports, you do whatever it takes.
Yep.
And I will develop from there. So, and it's always like, first is kind of like, assessing your environment, what becomes available, having your eyes open, right? That was also something as a lesson I tell some of my clients, because sometimes we just do that coming out of school, right? And
Yeah.
then we get lost because
True.
we can, there is a way of getting even comfortable standing in manure.
Oh, that doesn't sound appealing, but I can understand it.
The reason why I said it that way is because people have to look where they're at. How many people have excuses for not making a shift in their life because they just got so comfortable in their misery for not even looking?
Wow.
And you only can get comfortable through your mind if you make it that way. You see, an excuse is kind of like telling yourself about a reality which really does not exist. It's an acceptance to that. And you pass it. You might complain, and people complain and complain, but what are they really doing to it? That's the question. Best part of being is really be open to everything and attached to nothing. Question everything. Don't take anything as what is. Look at it. There's so many different points of view to get a different approach, different, picture of it all, what there is. And since there's an infinite amount to any point, right? The further you go out, you can always create more distance to that point. So coming from there's an infinite amount. So never give up. There's always something to it. Like, if you have an issue, there's always a solution. And another part is also whatever you call an issue was created within. Instead of pointing now, I could say like, again, that's an issue on the outside, but really it was me who had chosen to be a partner. You see, you can make wrong whatever it is. You can always point to the outside, but you will never get to the core of the real issue. But when you really look the issue with inside of yourself, you can become so successful. That's something like a little nugget I want to leave you here, for the audience. Looking within, that's an important part. And sometimes it might be in our blind spot, but it is the looking, constant looking.
Do you call that the ego?
No, because so many people make the ego wrong. I tell you this, the ego is very important. Everything is in balance. Balance is the important part. I want to say, like, if you want to focus on anything, it's balance. Balance in all areas of your life. Okay. And in our next session, I will go into that too. Because the ego is the important. If we didn't have the ego, we would not have the drive.
Okay.
It is the ego what drives us.
Oh.
It's
never thought of it that way.
It's behind the desire. So yet you have to be aware of it and keep it in check. So for me, at least the way I see it, the way it occurs to me, we all have different experiences and so on. There is an ego necessary in order to do certain things, okay. And sometimes it really takes some arrogance to go forward.
And I love all the input you've given, Alexander. I can't wait for our next one. As I said, we're going to talk about entrepreneurship is a game, and here is why. Exactly. And that is going to be our second chapter to this story. I hope people subscribe and like this interview because you are so fascinating. And with that, I thank you very much, Alexander. You've given so much information. I'm amazed at your background and what you went through and where you are today. So I look forward to chapter number 2.
Sounds good. I look forward to. You
Thank
have a
you.
great Thanksgiving. Talk to you then.
Thank you. You too.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.